All right. So, an example of our government protecting our rights happened at the Grand Zero site about a year and a half ago. And what happened was Muslim, some Muslim people wanted to build a mosque right down near Ground Zero. There was some land available that bought it, and so they wanted to build a mosque, a place for Muslims to go worship and practice their religion. Many people, many of the victims of Ground Zero, thought that it was um, inappropriate for a mosque to be built right next to the Ground Zero site because how because of how sensitive that issue was, and how many, not many, all of the terrorists who bombed the 9/11 trade centers, World Trade Centers, were Muslim. So people protested, and that is people's rights. Now the government is supposed to protect that right. So if you're trying to practice your religion peacefully, someone tries to stop you, the government is supposed to stop them so you can practice your religion. And that is the essence of what Locke felt the role of the government was, to protect our natural rights, our freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And that is, again, what John Locke believed. The right to rebel. Uh, we have these natural rights. Government is supposed to protect them. If the government does not protect them, we have the right to rebel against our leader. If the government fails to protect our rights, we the people have the right to rebel or overthrow our government. Now, how do we see this in our society? There are many ways. One, elections every 4 years, every 6 years for senators. If we do not like what somebody is doing in office, we can re-elect them, or not re-elect them. We can throw them out of government. We don't have to vote them back into power. Also, there are recalls. State of California had a recall, and we actually threw out a governor, and that's how Governor Schwarzenegger got elected, because we had a recall, because the state of California was not happy with what the governor was doing. This is also happening in Wisconsin about a couple months ago. And so we can set up a new government or people leaders that will protect our rights. Locke comes before the American Revolutions, and he writes this book. The title's on the left-hand side of the page, Two Treatises of Government. He wrote it in 1690. Our revolution, as you know, happened in 1776. He wrote about the right to rebel, which many of our founding fathers, our leaders of the revolution, took to heart and truly believed in. And we used his ideas to explain our revolution, that if the government is not going to protect our rights, we have the right to overthrow it. We have the right to rebel. Without John Locke's writing, would the American Revolution have happened? And I'll just let you answer that. Locke said, government has the consent or the permission of the governed of the people. So everything that government does is on our consent, is on the people's consent. The government is there because we let it be there. Government gets any power it has from we the people. And our founding fathers, specifically Thomas Jefferson, believed in this greatly, and they tried to incorporate many of these beliefs of John Locke's into our government in the way it is today. Locke believed that there was a social contract, along with some other. Hobbes thought there was a social contract. Locke thought there was a social contract, as well as a man, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, which you're going to learn about later on in a reading. And he believed that there is a social contract. And what that simply means is that there's an agreement between the people and their government on what the laws and the rules will be. That the people are going to elect our leaders in our form of government, and we have that right to re-elect them or to get them out of there if we're not happy. So what do we give up? We give the right to rule ourselves. We cannot do whatever we want. We have to live within a set of rules. What does the government have to do? Like we talked about earlier, they have to protect our natural rights. or freedom of speech, or freedom of religion, or all those things that are outlined in the Bill of Rights. And that's the government's job. There were other philosophers that were very, very influential in the creating of the Constitution, and one of them was a man named Voltaire, and he lived, again, he did a lot of his writings before our revolution, and he is paramount, as the picture says, to the beliefs behind our First Amendment. Now, the First Amendment says the freedom for people to practice their own religion, to say what they want, that type of thing. And he wrote on tolerance, free speech, freedom of religious belief, freedom of thought. And one of his quotes was, "I do not agree with a thing you say, but will defend to the death your right to say it." And he truly, truly was very inspirational in ours First Amendment rights. Another philosopher who talked about things was a man named Montesquieu, and he had a very important quote, "Power should be a check to power." Now, this was not the first time they talked about three branches of government. If you recall, the first people to come up with branches of government was way back during the Greeks, the ancient Greeks. They created three branches of government, and we talked about earlier, the philosophers in Greece influenced these philosophers to a great deal. They wanted to separate the three branches of government, and they balanced the power so not one part has too much. Let's go over what each branch does. The legislative branch, they write the rules. All right, they write the laws. The executive branch, what does that do? The executive branch is in charge of the military and that power. The judicial branch rules on whether the laws are just or not. Are they right? Are they legal? And so that is what each branch does. And Montesquieu was the person who did that. So when we talk about there's a check to power, that means each one of the branches on the bottom check the other branch. Another person is Bessarion, and he believed that the government shouldn't torture or use arbitrary punishment. And he didn't believe in capital punishment. Capital punishment is simply the death penalty. He did not believe in the death penalty. And this is seen in our Eighth Amendment of the United States Constitution. Now, some states do have the right for a death penalty, and that's more of a state issue. But on torture and unlawful beating of prisoners and those types of things are all in the Eighth Amendment of our Constitution. Just in review, first words in our Constitution are "we the people." And this was influenced by the Enlightenment thinkers. If there was no Locke, there would be no Jefferson. If there would be no Voltaire, there would be no free speech. And if there is no Enlightenment, yes, there is no United States. There might be United States, but not nearly the type of society and the government that we have today. Again, we'll go over many of these things on your summary. Please let me know if there's anything I need to go over or talk about more in detail. If you're confused about anything, please be very specific in your summaries. Thank you.